Hi, everybody, and welcome to Beyond Politics. Today we'll be talking about electricity.
Well, electricity supply and the availability of electricity in your plugs. And this weekend, we might be back at stage 4 load shedding. And this is big news. Eskom has been talking about for the past 10 months. We haven't had any load shedding. And I've told people that industry is still being load shed. We are very close. And that Eskom has been lucky on many occasions. Now that luck seems to be running out because a media statement was put out.
This kind of goes into the fact that the president wants a 3% GDP growth in the country, or economic growth in the country, and that cannot happen without South Africa producing more, and in producing more, needing more electricity supply to become available, but that's not the case. In fact, Eskom is probably the only company in the world that discourages its users from using its product. But that's the situation we're in. The current load shedding statement suggests it's probably only temporary due to some maintenance required.
Well, the thing is, the heading of the statement from Eskom is load shedding high risk alert statement. And Eskom issues alert of high risk of load shedding following over 10 months of uninterrupted power supply. Summer outlook remains unchanged, they say. But after more than 10 months of uninterrupted electricity supply due to the success of the Generation Recovery Plan, Bragg first, Eskom has issued an alert indicating a high risk of load shedding at short notice. Now, all load shedding would typically take place at short notice, especially if it's an emergency, because politicians cannot control it. You try and keep the grid stable at 50 Hz. And then the Eskom is quoted as saying this is a potentially temporary setback. Potentially temporary setback. Read between the lines. Load shedding is largely behind us due to the structural improvements in our generation fleet. However, and this however is a huge departure from the previous sentence. Over the past 7 days, we have experienced several breakdowns that require extended repair times. Okay, this has necessitated the use of all our emergency reserves, which includes pump storage as well as diesel. So diesel guzzling is now actually happening. Where before people were saying Eskom was guzzling diesel to keep the lights on, it is now happening. Okay, and those reserves need to be replenished. In other words, they need to have trucks, ANC ministers' wives getting contracts to supply diesel to Eskom.
The tenderizing process.
The tenderizing processes, yeah. So those reserves need to be replenished at the pump storage schemes as well as at these diesel gas turbine sites. Consequently, we are closely monitoring the status of our current emergency reserves, and load shedding up to stage 4 may be implemented over the weekend, said Eskom Group Chief Executive Dan Morokani. So he is the big chief of Eskom, and they say Eskom will issue further updates in due course.
We have experienced load shedding for many, many years. I'd love to know in the comments what you have done to mitigate load shedding. I think a lot of South Africans have found ways around it.
Which
whether
is beautiful.
It's a little power bank to charge your phone, or whether it's fully fledged solar panel on your rooftop, we've managed to work around it. And of course, at least we have the braai culture in South Africa, so you don't go hungry at night. But still, I mean, I personally, because I don't run a business, I'm lucky. But personally, I've enjoyed the moments of load shedding when everything is quiet, all the electricity is off, there is no noise. It's wonderful. People might hate me for saying that, but I do really feel the most sorry for businesses who have had to fork out and are still forking out money to have diesel generators, which then obviously will push up price of the costs of whatever they are providing, and that economically it is a nightmare.
And this statement, this PDF file, we will load on our Telegram channel, so you can go and view it there. But News 24 is already running with us. Eskom warns of high risk of load shedding for first time in over 10 months. Well, they could have warned you before. I can tell you that the grid has been extremely tight for the past month, with Kuburg Unit 2 being asked to come online sooner, a week earlier than what was scheduled and planned. It tells you the grid is tight, and I can tell you that they don't want to tell the public this because the public starts to panic and freak out. I'm telling you that you need to become self-reliant with regards to your energy and electricity needs as you can. And load shedding has done that for South Africa. A lot of people have made plans. So it's put us in a stronger situation as South African citizens. The fact that we can cope with things like this, if this had to happen in Europe or in America on an ongoing basis, how do you think they would cope?
Well, any climate where it gets extremely cold, it would be very, very difficult. We go back to the Stone Ages. So we're lucky. South Africa's positioned well. We're a resilient nation. We adapt well to hardship. And I think that is great. That's a testament of the true South African spirit. I worry as we all try become more self-reliant that local governments will penalize those that have gone off the grid, so to speak.
This is happening already.
And it is happening in little bits and pieces, but it can happen with much broader scale across the country. And I hate that. I hate government control. So government is failing, then we try and mitigate that failure. Government wants to...
They want to make money.
Charge
They want
money
to make
for that.
money off of us. It's that simple. And NERSA has given Eskom only a third of what they asked for in electricity price increases. But the 1st of April is not an April Fool's joke. You'll be paying 12.7% more for your electricity, when Eskom asked for 36.1%. So just understand that nothing is getting better because we are not building new baseload capable power supply. And propellers and solar panels on a large grid scale is not the answer, because we don't have power lines to many of these places. And government is going to use your taxpayers' money to build power line infrastructure to where these renewable plants are built in the middle of nowhere, and it's going to cost billions and billions of rands. They could have built new power stations with that, nuclear power stations, hint hint. Lauren, any last words or thoughts?
Well, we have organizations that are trying to take Eskom to court if they don't shut down their coal-fired power stations immediately or whatever, or at least filter the air, which will cost a lot of money.
More billions.
More billions. And I think that the state South Africa's in, energy is one of our biggest problems. And we need to do everything to increase our electricity capacity.
And that's one of the 4 things that Cyril Ramaphosa said he had to focus on: water, electricity. I mean, those 2 things were there.
But it's the how, and unfortunately the ideology and philosophy behind our government is totally wrong, where it gives corporations all the power and leaves citizens vulnerable, and that's the situation we're sitting in with our government. The relationship between us and our government is very toxic.
Please like, share and subscribe. I'm a real energy supply expert. I've worked for Eskom since 1992, and I can tell you the facts as they happen behind the scenes, and I've been doing so for some time. So please like, share and subscribe to this channel if you want more information like this in future, and tell other people that the fight is not over. Our government is not doing what is required to supply the amount of electricity that the citizens will need to grow the economy, to get that 3% growth rate. It's not happening. So it cannot happen unless the 4th Industrial Revolution is being planned, the digitization of everything, no more manufacturing, less jobs, and Klaus Schwab's "you will own nothing and be happy" policies being implemented. And I would suggest that is actually what is happening, and this is just the last death cries while fooling the public into still paying tax to a government that is annihilating your very existence.
The Davos meetings are happening already, and we'll report back on some of the findings there. But yes, let's do everything we can to stay free. Please visit our website, beyondpolitics.co.za, to find out some of the things we're doing to help people to stay free.